Hello folks, welcome. It's Sean from BRIT'N again. Yep, we got another build. This is the alternate build to the mine loader. Brilliant. So check out the video link. Should be right there. Check that out and you can see the video of the actual main model. But this is going to be the B model. So this is the alternative build. There's our parts. We're going to just pull these out slowly so that I can put the tires and the bigger elements on the edge here. This will also help stop things rolling away. Kind of excited to find out how this goes. Do have the instructions to it. I don't really know what to make of it, to be honest with you. We've got some more big parts here. We've got container parts there. It's kind of unique. Another wheel rim. And of course we've got the awesome blade fan right there. Now we can tip the rest of this out. And this is part of the James York Challenge. James York Challenge is basically my friend's Lego. My friend passed away about 5-6 years ago now, and this is or was his Lego. Been asked to go through it, make sure everything's there, and during that we'll make some videos out of it. So the challenge is to get it all done. Yeah, check out the video for that, or the actual playlist. You'll see all of his Technic Lego. He's always had Technic Lego. Anyway, let's get some instructions up for you. There we go. And what we got here? Yep, they're up. Excuse me. We got an 8 axle with a stopper. We're just going to spread this out a little bit. There's the 8 axle with a stopper. Then we want the large tang gear on top. Big H shape. This again is kind of the similar sort of way that the mine loader was. Going to drop the red bushing on top of that, and then what looks like is going on top of that is a small bushing and then a tanned gear. Right, okay, so small bushing and then a tanned gear. And then we're going to bunch that all up. Pile that there and that there. So it's like that. Next stage is what looks like the axles again. So we've got the dark bluish grey axle connector and a tan pin with axle on the end. Usually you find those in blue. The difference between these two is that the tanned are frictionless, so things should revolve around it or on it, whereas blue and black are friction. And this is going to go into the middle hole here. See that? It's got movement. Then we're putting another one in and a moon gear on there as well. So we've got 3 axle, an axle connector, dark grey axle connector, and then the moon gear. Looks like a moon gear. Yes, it is. Probably a moon gear because it's kind of like moon wheels from space sets and stuff. There we go. And that should turn all that. Perfect. Then we got 2 blue pins. Short end in first, and they're going into the second hole. So we got a hole and then drop the pin. And then we've got 2 black pins going in here. 1, 2. And then looks like we're doing the suspension the same way. So yellow plates, red axles. And what, another yellow plate, another red axle, twin axle connector, drop that on top, and that on top. Doing that twice. Okay, so we've got another connector, no, another plate with axle. And that's going on top of this black connector here with the axle facing up. Then they're going to drop down later on. So we need another plate. And pop that on. Ready, primed. Did push the axle through a little bit. So I'm going to put it on the bench. There we go. We got to build 2 of those. So another plate, red axle, and another plate, then a red axle. We need the twin axle connector. Push those through. And then we want plates. A plate. A red axle. That's going to go on top of that. And the last but not least, another plate and red axle. And drop that on top of that. So there we go. And then they're going to go into here, and then we just go push these axles through to lock them in place. A little bit different, but the same design, but a little bit different way of doing it. Like so. And then we are putting 5 axle in each end with a bushing. Right, so we want 5 axle in each end, followed by a small bushing. Push them too far down there, otherwise you just stop the movement. You'll pinch. Alright, so we got some framework. So we got a 7 hole Technic beam. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 3 black pins and a soft black pin. So pin, pin, and pin on the other end, and then we got a hole, and then we got a pin with the soft pin with the axle, and that's going to go that way, so it's like that. And then we've got a 9 Technic beam going across here like that, and then we've got a large L shape which is going on there, and we got that gap there, and then we have twin axle connector is going to join onto that axle like that, and then we've got 4 axle with 2 hole connector, and that is going to go in through the other axle hole here and through the bars. So it's like that. Then we're making the extension bar. We want a 3-axle, 2 pins with collar. So there's a pin with collar, there's a 3-axle. We want another pin with collar. There we go. And then that's going to go into the top of this L shape, like that. And then we're extending. So we got 2 blue pins going on the end here. So we've got a blue pin going in here, short end in first. So we've got a pin, space, pin. And then we're putting another 9 Technic beam on the end of that. Give it a bit of a wiggle. It's 2 pins lining up. So give it a bit of a wiggle. And then these are going to join onto the black pin and the blue pin here. Like so. Okay, not quite sure what this is that we're building, but we need a soft pin, 2-volt axle connector, and that's going to go through the axle hole. Okay, and then we've got a black pin going there, so you should have an axle and 2 pins. We've got an axle connector with a hole in the middle, and the hole's going to face up. And then we are doing it again. Axle hole connector, a pin, and a soft pin. So you've got 2 pins and your axle. And then that goes into the other side. Then we've got a 4-axle. It's going to go through the middle. There we go, 4-axle. Hold it in place because you're going to put a red bushing underneath. Like that. It will still fall out. So you got to keep that in place. Keep your finger underneath it. And then we got to put some plates. Okay, so we got the 1-hole Technic plates. Light grey. There should be 2 of them in this set. There we go. There's 1. Push it down. And then we've got another. That's an L shape. That's an L shape. That's an L shape. There's the L shape. There's the L shape. L shape. L shape. There it is. Push that through, and then we got blue pin with axle going into those 2 plates, so might be a challenge. Pop that in there, and then we got an axle connector going onto the end of that, like that. And then we're going to add that to the body. It's going to go into these 2 pins here, 2 holes, like so. And we're doing the other side by the looks of things. I'll double check that. Yes, we are. Okay. 7-hole Technic beam, 2 black pins with collar on either side. Push them all the way through. Okay. Then we've got black pin going next to this one. And then we got an axle soft pin with axle in there. Then we got an L shape going off this large L shape, like that. And then we got a 9 Technic beam. Don't think that's a 9. That's a 9 Technic beam going off these 2 here. Like that. Then we got the twin axle connector off that. 2 blue pins. So blue pin at the end, short end in again first, and then we got a hole, and then we got a pin drop, and then you should have something like that. Then we're going to add the 4-axle with the 2-hole connector. We want 4-axle, so that's going to go through that axle hole like that. Now it holds it in place. And we got to add a blue, another 9-hole bar, Technic bar, onto these blue pins. There you go. And then we're going to add that to the body. Blue pin first, because I mean that's the longest. Then this black one, and then it should come together. Let's give these a bit of a wiggle, like that. Come together right now. Right, so 7-hole Technic beam. We got a hole, then we got a pin drop, then we got another pin drop, then we got a hole, then we got a pin drop, and we got a pin drop. Then we got 2 5-hole Technic beams are going to go off each of those. That's 1. That's 2. And then we got blue pins going in the middle of those, and they're going to go in short end in first. They're going to go in the middle of those 5-hole beams, and then the blue pins are going to go into these holes here, like so. Uh, 6-axle with small bushing. Right, so we've got 6-axle, red, small bushing at the end, and that's going to go into this hole here between the connector here and the pin. It's just going to go through. What's the point of that? We'll find out, I guess. And then we've got to put another bushing on the other side just to stop that from falling off. Oh, so far all it's done is put a red bar in there. 2 pins with collar going into these grey 2-hole connectors here. So we got 1, and not pushing them all the way through, because we're going to be locking those into place pretty soon. Those are going to be just poised there, ready to go in and lock something in place. Alright, so this looks like the steering axle. 3-axle twin axle connector. This one. It's going to go halfway, so it's going to even on each side. A 4-axle with stopper, so it's a dark bluish grey. That's going to go on there. Put my thumb behind it, and then we're going to put a bushing over the end. Make sure you got some freedom, some movement. Don't pinch it too much. And then we've got another 4-axle with stopper going into here. Okay, that's an interesting use of that. And then that is going to drop in there, loose. Okay. And we're going to build another one of those. So we want a twin axle connector. Twin axle connector. There we go. 3 axle. I want a 3 axle, not a 5. There's 3. Push it in so it's even on each side. Then we've got the 4 axle with bushing. No, with stopper. Sorry. We're going to put a bush in. That's going to come in that way. I'm going to put a bush in on top of that just to secure it. Like that. Make sure it's got some freedom. And then the 4 axle with bushing going into the other axle hole here. 4 axle with bushing. With stopper. There we go. Push that all the way through. And then that is going to drop into that hole there. Then we're going to put a bar across here, I'm guessing. We got a bar going across here. Yep, I was right. There is a bar going across there. It's not going where I thought it was going to go, though. That's interesting. Okay, so those pieces, they're going to get locked in by the looks of things. So we got an 11 Technic beam. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Perfect. Smooth periscope. Got 2 of them here. So it's a hole, then a pin drop, and on the other side hole, pin drop. And then these are going to go over the axle, over the blue pins. So push them down, wiggle it, and then these lock them in place. Now your steering's going nowhere. Solid steering right there. Another 11. I think that's definitely not an 11. That's an 11. Another 11 that's going to go over the top of these 2. And that is the steering. So we're going to lock this in place with 2 large red bushings. I'll put my finger behind that the axle with stoppers as well, so it stops the bushings pushing it through. But there you go. There's your steering. A T-bar. Not the sort of T-bar that you would get a cup of tea at, unfortunately. 2 grey pins on the ends. Although, you know what I could do with a cup of tea right now. Then turn it upside down, and then there's going to be a grey pin at the base of the T on the other side. So it's like that. Then this is going to be placed, looks like dead center. 1, 2, 3, 4 holes. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, it's going dead center. No, it's not. There we go. Now it's dead center. So that's going to kind of keep that in place. But there's something here. This probably could be the hand of God bit. There could be a hand of God steering on this. 9 hole beam, 2 black pins. So pin drop and a pin drop, and then a 3 hole Technic beam on the end of that. Black. And then that's going to attach to this red pin, blue pin here. So it's going to go to that, and this grey pin here, like that. That's where, this is where our hand of God steering is, right here. So it's going to be here. That's what that is. And so we got a 5 hole beam, soft axle, no, it's not soft axle, soft pin with axle in the end, then a pin next to it, Then we've got a blue pin, long blue pin is going to go all the way through. So we've got a hole, then a blue pin, then another pin. And then we're going to add the yellow large L shape, and that's going to go on the blue pin and this black pin here. So it's going to be in the middle. And then we're going to add 3-hole Technic beam with a blue pin at the bottom. It's going to go all the way through, and then on the other side here we've got a blue pin. Well, it looks like the short end's going to go into it, so it's kind of staggered like that. Then that's going to join the L shape. Like that. You get your curly whirly. Gotta get your curly whirly, so here's curly whirly. Blue pin with axle in the top here. So it's going to go in there. Then just at the just after the elbow, we got a pin going in there, black pin going into there, like that. And then next to it, we got a hole, and then after that, we got another pin. So that just does not want to go in. There we go. So after the elbow, you got a pin, then you got a hole, then you got a pin. Then we're going to add that to the framework we're building here. The axle pin is going to go into the axle hole here, like so. And then we're adding another L shape. So we got the L shape. We've got 2 black pins, one at the top and one below that. And then we're going to add that to make sure that we got this the right way around. It's going to add to the curly whirly here. It looks like we've got a hole, then it's the L shape. And we're going to add a 1-hole connector, axle connector, onto the end of this black pin. And then we're going to add this to the rest of the bodywork. So it's coming in this way. So this looks like a wheel arch probably. That's what that probably is. So that blue pin is going into this corner. That axle is going into there. And then this is going into there by the looks of things. Like that. Make sure we've still got room. Looks good. Yeah, could be a wheel arch. That's an interesting piece of building there. So we've got a 5-axle, 1-hole axle connector. It's going to go in the middle, like so. And then we've got a bushing going on each end. So small bushing on each end. And then we got coat hanger. So the coat hanger is going to go on that. And we got the 6-axle with the screw. There's the screw. And then we got 2 bushings that are going to come down in front of it. So it's 2 small bushings. I think the only large bushings in this set are the red ones. I'll keep my thumb behind so the axle doesn't push through. So it's like that, I believe. And then we've got to put that into the 1-hole connector like that, and then secure it in place with dropping it. Secure it in place with the where's the screw gone? Oh, lost the screw. There it is. A universal joint by looks things. So going to hold that in place this time. Put the universal joint on, like that. So the screw just still keeps falling off. How is that? How's that possible when that... Oh, it's on the end. It's on the end. So then we got to put another one of those pieces on there. So 1/0 axle connector, a 5 axle, bushings on either side again, small bushings either side. So kind of replicating the first part you did. There we go, small bushing, got it. And then that's going to go on the other side of the coat hanger, like so. And that should meet up, and then you're going to push the axle through. I'm going to take the universal off because it might break that. Go and just push that through the hole, because it's being held in by 2 bushings, and that's quite a lot of resistance there. You might actually break your joint on your universal, and that's not going to be fun because they're not very cheap, those pieces. 7 axle, yellow, large dark grey gear, and bushings on either side of that, like last time. Bushings on either side. And you can put those close because there's no movement there. Make sure your thing's lined up though. And then that is going to join middle hole here, and it should connect with the screw. To test it out, just rotate the universal and it should work. Perfect. And then we're going to close that off with another coat hanger, then everything should stay in place. I'm going to keep my finger behind the yellow axle. Then I'm going to... Actually, no, I'm not. How is that not working? There it goes. There. Put my fingers behind these 2 axles here. Keep them in place. Then squeeze it up. And there you go. There's your mechanism there. We're going to extend the universal with a 5 axle and a smooth grey sleeve. Then we're going to put a big U joint on there. So big I can't see it. There it is. And then usually on the end of that will be a gear. In this case it's going to be a moon gear. So we want another moon gear. That's going to go in there, like so. Then we're going to... Okay, so we're going to put 2 1/2 axle connectors in here with red axle. Okay, so we want 1/2 axle connector. Push that through. Get another one. Push that through. And then pop them in that way. So as long as they're facing at a right angle instead of that way, you're good. Because at the moment you can turn it around. Put the other one in there, and it should be that way, not that way, that way. Then we're going to add a 5.5 axle with a ring. We're going to put on the end of the short end there is going to be a axle connector, And then we're going to put that through there and hold it in place just a bit. Get a small tan gear. There we go. Small tan gear. You're going to hold that inside the U shape against the moon gear there. So it's going to be a bit tricky. And then you've got to try and rotate that gear, and then you can get that axle through there, and you can turn that, and that's operating the whole mechanism right there. Don't know if you're seeing that. There you go. Perfect. And then we're going to add that to the frame. Okie dokie. So the yellow axle, or is it the grey axle? It's the grey axles are going to go into these two holes here. So these two grey axles are going to go into those two holes there. And this looks like it's going to be held in place by the blue pin. If I can get that lined up still. Should do. Yep, there we go. Perfect. And then we're going to lock that in place with the other the other part of this. So a 5-hole Technic beam, soft pin, one end. Then we got a pin drop. Then we got a space. Then we got a blue pin with long end going in. Push it all the way in, and another black pin next to it. L shape, big L shape going off the blue pin and the black pin here, so in the middle. Then we're going to extend that, so we want the 3-hole Technic beam, blue pin going through at the top, and a blue pin below that, short end in first. Like that, and then that is going to join on the end of that. Get curly whirly. Blue pin with axle in the top, black pin just after the elbow, and then a hole, and then a black pin next to that. And then we're going to attach that to the axle. Like so. And then we've got the large L shape, 2 pins at the top, 1, 2, and then it's going to pin to here. And don't forget you've got a gap. Got that gap, and then that's going to pin to the other side here. So blue pin in there. Lots of things to line up now. You got axles, you got pins. Not sure how best to do this yet. Let's give this a bit of a wiggle and see what we've got. Yeah, that looks good. The axles are in place here, so that's good. I got lucky with that. And then that black Technic beam in there. There seems to be something amiss here. Yeah. There we go. That looks more like it. There we go. So we got the steering, which is going to be hand guard here. We got some axle drive here, so that's going to do an engine. And then we've got something here which probably is going to lower an arm with a cutter on it, because it is supposed to be a mine cutter. So okay, now it's asking to line these up. So it wants crank arms with the pin facing out, so crank arms, and it wants the arm down, and then we're putting a 1-hole axle connector on top of that facing up, so you got this kind of L shape here. Do that the same on the other side. So we want the crank arm with the pin facing out. Let's crank on with the pin facing out. So it's like that. So the pins are facing out here, not facing in. Then we've got the one hole axle connector. And again, you've got the L shape. And if you turn this, you should see that kind of lift. So yeah, this is going to be lifting a boom or something like that. This looks like the engine. So we've got a 5-axle, one hole axle connector, another one hole axle connector, and we're going to stagger that so it's going to go the other way. So it's like that. So this looks like a camshaft type thing, maybe. A twin axle connector. There is twin axle connector, and then again one hole axle connector facing up, and then this one facing down. So you got that. And we got a 3-axle. Did have a 3-axle here. There is a 3-axle with a fire hydrant. Then that's going to go through the axle hole of the twin axle connector, and the holes are going to be facing sort of towards you and not up. These holes are facing up. These are not going to be facing up. Just remember that. So they're facing towards you. Right, engine block time. So engine block, standard build of engine block, 4 pins. So 2 pins on the front. Doesn't matter which way is front or back, to be honest with you. At this moment in time, then connect the other engine block and just make sure you got 2 pins on the end of that as well. 1, 2, like so. Then you're going to connect that to this framework here that we just made, and it's going to go into these 2 pins here, keeping your engine block upside down because that's going to be the support frame. Then we build in the pistons. So yep, that is not a crank, that is definitely a frame. So we're going to build the pistons. So we want a crank, and then we want a piston arm. Piston arm. There we go. Ring facing inwards. Then we got another crank, which is this dark tan piece there. I think that's actually tan. I think. Yeah, that looks like tan. Then we got a red. Oh, we got a red axle. Okay, so we're making a bit of an extension there, and that is going to have a piston arm on it as well. Ring facing the same way as the other one. So the lower ring or the shorter ring is going to be, the smaller ring is going to be facing towards the crank, and the same with the other arm if I can find it. If that, right in front of me, like that. So you see the 2 are facing that. That's your smaller ring. And then we're going to put a crank on the end of that to secure it in place. It's going to drop down, so it goes up, down, across, down, across. Attach the piston heads. Where they gone? There's one. It's upside down, so it's totally disguised. The other one, I think I tried to roll off earlier on. There it is. So pop those on there, and then drop them into your engine block like so. Come on, there you go. And you can try and test it, but you'll be able to test it later on anyway. 5-axle with a moon gear, and it's going to go a little bit more than quarter of the way, a little bit more, and then that's going to come in from the outside of the frame, and it's going to attach to the crank or the cam, and now you've got a bit more control. Then we go build another frame just like we did last time. So 1-hole axle connector, 4-axle, no, we want 5-axle, sorry, 5-axle. Then we want another 1-axle hole connector going the other way. Then we got the twin axle connector, and then a 1-hole axle connector, and another 1-hole axle connector. So you got that again, and that is going to go that way, so that that axle is going to go through there, and then just drop those pins on, and now you should have a stable engine that you can test. Next, it looks like the framework for the engine. So we've got a 5-axle. Okay, we want a 5-axle. We want black pin with collar. Then we want the 2-axle hole connector, a 2-hole axle connector, and that's going to go through the axle. So okay, axle hole there. And then we've got a small L shape, and that's going to go through the axle as well. So it kind of likes that. You can lay flat. Then we have another 2-hole axle connector. Okay, it's going to go on the other side, and then we're going to close that off with another black pin with collar. Looks kind of cool. 2 L shapes and 3-axle. Right, so we want a 3-axle, and the 3 axles are going to go in each end of the L shape, and then we're going to join another L shape on top of that. I'll push one in lower so I can get 1 axle on, and then hold them in place, push them through, push down on table, and then the axles will poke through, and that is going to go. Looks like I've got that wrong. I got that wrong. There we go. It's going to go through like that, and then we can close that off with the other 2 L shapes. It's not an axle on each end. It's an axle next to each other. Usually it's an axle on each end. Where's the other L shape? There it is. I don't want the wheel rim just yet. And there you go. Kind of looks like a chair, actually. I think that's probably a chair. No, it's not. A 5-axle is going to go into this side here, so we want a 5-axle. It's going to go into there. It's not going to go all the way through. Not yet, anyway. Then you go attach that to the engine, which is still upside down. It's going to kind of go over the top of the twin axle connector there, and then push the axle through. It will go. It will go. It's a bit tough. It's a bit tough. You're going through a couple of plates. You're going through an axle connector. There you go. Like that. And then we've got a 5-hole bar. with a pin on either side. So one pin, and then turn it around, and then you've got pins next to that on the other side, like that. So you end up with something like that. And then keeping this upside down, I think. No. Have I mounted this the wrong way? I have, haven't I? I have totally mounted that the wrong way. Now I'm going to have to pull that axle through. Ouch, that's going to hurt. Okay, so best way to take this is, what I found, is take your the longest axle you've got, preferably one with a stopper on the end if you do, because that's going to hurt less. See, they've got the stopper on the end there. And then you're just going to try and poke it through as best as you can until you've got it in there, and then just ram it right through. The reason why you get a longer one is because it will push it all the way through and you can still get the other axle out. Now then, I'm going to turn this the way it should be and then try and drive the axle through again. Okay, it's through the first plate, second plate, axle connector next. There we go. Then the plates, and there. Got it. That's the way it should be. And then we got to turn it upside, up the other way, and then we got this beam that we just made. It's going to go on to the top holes here of that two-hole axle connector, like that. Ah, cool. So we're using the container parts as engine covers. That's cool. All right, so looks like the pin's going to go into this like that, and the same with that. This is going to be cool. This is going to be cool because what it's going to do is going to close like that, and that's your engine. That is going to look really cool. I've not seen these parts before until now. That looks really cool. I'm really, really good. I'm happy with that. That looks that's a nice little aesthetic design there. Turn it upside down, okay, and then we're going to lock it in place with two blue pins in here. So, and it's going to go, pin's going to go in long ways. So try and get that, give it a bit of a wiggle, and again like that, and it's more or less secure. We could probably go drive some pins in here as well, maybe. No, we got black pins with collar going in there. That's what's going in there, right? So black pins with collar. Don't want a wheel rim. Give it a bit of a wiggle. There we go. Now it's a solid engine. Would you call that? A cowling or something? So upside down again. We got a one-hole axle connector going on either end here. Make sure the holes are facing up, like that. And then we got plaster that with blue pins with axles now. So we got two blue pins with axles going in the end of these fire hydrants. So that's one, and that's two, and then two black pins in the one axle connectors that we just put in there, like that. So it's kind of like legs. Kind of like legs. Keeping it upside down, we've got two-hole axle connector. There's two of them going to go on the ends of these pins here with red axles. So two-hole axle connectors, red pins. Just push them halfway through. Another one and a red pin, red axle, sorry, like that. So they're kind of like halfway, because what you're going to do is you're going to drive them through into there. Might not line up straight, so just find the axle hole and the pins move so you can line them up later. 7-hole Technic beam, 2 small grey pins with studs on the end, so it's 2 holes, then the stud drop, then a hole and stud drop. Then we're going to put a 3-hole Technic beam on top of those studs like that, and then this is going to go, turn the engine over so it's the right way up, so you've got the pistons facing up. It's going to go over this axle here. That's just popped out, hasn't it? Secure that in place. There we go. This is going to keep that in place anyway. Like so, we've got two pins to line up plus an axle. The axle's not too much of a difficult. It's just those 2 pins there. Now it's pretty secure. There isn't much to go on here. That's the thing. There isn't much Technic. There isn't much axle here for a gear to fit on, because I'm sure that's what's going to happen, or it's going to be a connector, but there's really not much purchase there at all. Twin axle connector. Yep. So I think it's the last one. 3 axle, 3 axles. There's one. And we've got another 3 axle. There we are. Then a 5-hole Technic beam over the top, and then 2 blue pins on either end, like that. Then we got a 9-axle grey 9-axle with 2 1-hole axle connectors, and about quarter of the way down on each side. Whoops, that's way more than a quarter, like that. Basically, it's going to connect to these 2 blue pins here. So if it doesn't line up, just bunch them up a little bit, like I just did, and it's going to go on the side where, oh right, okay, so we got another twin axle connector going on there. I don't think I've got another one. Oh, I do. That must be the last one. It pushed the axles through. Now they're stable. So now it doesn't matter which way you put it, as long as you align the 1-hole axle connectors. There you go. That's kind of central, and you can push that through a little bit more. That looks a bit better. And then that's going to attach to, with the pistons up, that's going to attach to the top here, and these blue pins are going to go into the red casings there, like that. Now we go drop it. All right, drop it like it's hot, with the black and the yellow beam facing out. So my guess is these 4 pins here are going to go into these 4 holes here. They line up perfectly, so that's what it looks like. This is getting quite heavy now. It's got that casing on. There we go. perfectly. Perfect. And now that gear is lined up with the engine. Just rotate the little tan gear that we put on there at the beginning, or this wheel here, and you'll see your pistons just jumping away there. So that's perfect. Absolutely perfect. That's why there is not much purchase on there, because there's nothing going on there. So that was well thought of, I think. And we got some plates going over, some bodywork. So we got the wheel arch, and there's going to be a black pin on the shorter end of the wheel arch. So there's going to be a black pin here, and there's going to be the axle going through here. So black pin with collar, push it through, not all the way, because you got to lock it in place. And the other one, the other side, like so. So you have them like that. Now then, this is going to go axle on there, drop it down a little bit, and then push the black pin through. So again, pop it on the axle, drop it down naturally, and then just wiggle that pin through, and you kind of got that buffer there. Bit of body work there. This is the rear, because we just got the rear lights next. And one hole axle connector with the grey pin stud, and trans red 1x1 circular plate, and we'll do that again. And we need another trans red. There is. And then these are going to go on the ends of the axle that you just put those panels on, like that. So there you go. Cool. So we're not we're not putting this on as the fan this time. That was the fan last time. It was excellent. Most excellent. Go check that video out. Okay, so one hole axle connector, soft pin through the axle hole, one hole axle connector with hole, or axle connector with hole the hole facing up, and then another soft pin going through another one axle hole connector, one hole axle connector through, and then again like that, so it's lined up. And then we've got two blue pins. So we've seen a similar design to this before. Two blue pins, short end in first into that one hole axle connector, and then it's going to go into a 7-hole Technic beam, and you've got two holes, 1, 2, and then you're going to drop the blue pin, then the black pin, just like that, and that is going to attach to this black pin here with the collar, and this black pin here. Is it? It is. Is it? Give it a bit of a wiggle. Bit of flexibility there. Right, there you go. Nice. And I guess we just go put another yellow beam over that. Now we're keeping that that way at the moment. We've got a 5-hole Technic beam going from the black pin to the blue pin, like that. Then we've got an L shape that's going from these two blue pins here and to here, or it's just going from these two blue pins anyway. Yep, it's going to go to that other blue pin as well, like so. Quite the Quite the framework. Ooh, look at this. It's got some gear work. Oh, Hand of God stuff. Right, okay. So 4 axle, large 10 pin, and a red bushing. So it's kind of like that. Then go turn that upside down. Keep your finger on top of the gear because you could probably push that bushing through. And it should line up. It's not. That's because I've just pushed the axle through. There we go. And there is your Hand of God steering. See that? Cool. Alright, so 1 all axle connector, a 4 axle into the axle hole, a red bushing on top of that, like so, and a grey pin on here so it's frictionless, so it should move. And then we got a dark bluish grey collar going over that. So this is going to be like a winding handle. And that is going to go into the L shape you dropped in earlier, into the first hole. You can try and rotate it around until you actually make connection with the grey axle connector in there. There we go. And then that should operate this. You can see the arm going up and down here. Perfect. Nice. And then we go close off this side. Nice. Okay, so just with a 7-hole Technic beam. That's not 7-hole, is it? That's like a 9 or something. That's 7. Blue pin, black pin, push it all the way through. Then we got a black pin at the end. Just gonna give it a bit of a wiggle, try and get that pin started. There we go. Lovely. And then we got the 8 axle with stopper that we were using as a demonstration to poke axles through. And that is going to go, I think that looks like it's going to go through this hole here. It's going to hold that piece in place, that piece in place, go all the way through, and then it's going to have a stopper on the other side, a bushing on the other side. All it's doing is holding these grey pieces in place here to the framework. That's it. Probably to give it a little bit more stability. Then we got to add the L shapes and the, oh, it looks like, yeah, it looks like it's L shapes all around. So we've got the L shape here on the 2 pins and the blue pin at the top. So it's going to go there. And then we got like a L shape is going to be in a 7, a form of a 7. So it's going to go here and here. Like that. Because I got 17. Some more panel work. Okay, so these are going to be arches, wheel arches. And the short end again is going to have black pin with collar. So we need a black pin with collar on there. And then we've got the other panel and we're going to do the same thing. But black pin with collar is going in the other side. So again, you should have opposites. And then these are going to fit on the ends of these black connectors here. So they're going to go, where's that black connector then? Let it fall off. There you go. So it's going to be that blue pin there right here, and then that black pin's going to go through. So we're going to put the blue pin on first, because you can pop it on and move it and then push the pin through. So pop it on, move it, push the pin through. Solid. Actually, this is not looking too bad, to be fair. It actually looks kind of cool. Oh, exhaust. Okay, and so 2 pins as well with ball joints. Those are going to go in here. So there's one there and one there. So we got a pin with a ball joint there, and a pin with a ball joint there. Not forgetting the exhaust element. Such a cool element, actually. And that's going to go on the 7 that we put in there, and it's going to go. Oh, we got a ball joint going there as well. Actually, you know what? I may have jumped the gun there. And that's going to go below the ball joint. And it's going to be pitched up like so. At a slight angle. Make a extension bar. So we got a smooth grey sleeve, black pin one side, tan pin, short end in first. The other side, it is frictionless, so it should move. And then that's going to go into this hole here, just above this blue pin, like not like that. The other way around. So it's the tan pin, so that should rotate. I'm not quite sure what that is doing. Not sure what else is doing. Okay, this looks like the seat, like last time. So we used the blue small L shape with a red pin in the top. Then put another blue L shape. It's the only 2 blue L shapes that come with this set. And then a black pin with collar in the back there, and a black pin at the end. So it's like that. Then you're going to attach it to. So this pin here is going to go into this hole here, like so. And that black pin is actually acting as a stopper. Stop the movement, because if you didn't have that black pin in there, you kind of end up with this. Where is it? You kind of end up with that. So that black pin was doing a pretty major job. So that was well thought of. Pop that in there. That in there. Again, it's not going anywhere. This is the cab. Okay, so we want a V shape, black V shape, and we've got a 4-axle going into one side, and a 4-axle is going to go into a 1-axle hole connector. So we want a 4-axle. It's going to go into the 1-axle hole connector, and then that is going to go into there. Push the axle through. So it's like that. It's kind of loose. Then it's going to be held in place by a Mordrim. Is it? Yes, it is. Like that. Now it's in place. And then these are going to have 2 grey pin studs in there, and then 2 trans clear 1x1 circular plates. These are going to be your headlights, like that. And then we're going to be adding an L shape onto the axle, small L shape, axle hole, drop it down, and then we've got a 1-hole axle. No, it fell off. Like that. Yeah, we got a 1-hole axle connector going on the end of that axle. There we go. So you got the hole facing up, or if it's laying down like that, it's going to cross. That's going to also have a grey stud in it, a grey pin stud in the top, and that's going to have a trans orange 1x1 circular plate like that. So yeah, this is the cab. It's cab lights. That's your little flashing beacon. And then there's going to be another 4-axle in the end of that other V shape. This is where everything all comes together now. So then we got the grey sleeve going over that, and then we've got another V shape going over that, and that would lock everything in place. Probably might not stop things flopping about. Not quite, but there you go. That looks like the top of the cab to me. Okay, we're not finished yet. We've got the 3-hole Technic plates with 2-axle hole, and we got soft pin with axle going through, and then we're going to put 2 plates on top of each other. Okay, like that. See, look how crooked that is. Just shows you how soft it is. And blue pin, short end in first. So it's like that. And then a grey pin, frictionless, in like that, and it should move. Okay, now then, where's this going? This is going into the L shape. Is it going to go into this bottom piece here? Because it looks like there's a hole. Okay. Drop that in there like that. And then we're putting a yellow Technic beam on top of that. Blue, a yellow 5-hole like that. Why does that even look like the wrong angle to me? It does. It looks like the wrong angle. I don't know why. Something's missing. Ah, blue pin is going in here like that. That's better. Yellow V shape. Okay, so yellow V shape, red axle. Put that in that end there. Then we've got 2 grey pin studs next to it. 1, 2. And this is going to do the same job it did last time. So that's going to go across there like that. And then this is going to pin. Let's get this right way round. This is going to... I think that's going to go into there like that. Okay. A very bizarre building technique at the moment. Okay. So maybe when putting it in place, it all gets held into place quite nicely. 2 blue pins are going to go into these 2 holes here, just behind the seat. And you've got a black pin here as well. Give it a bit of a wiggle. There we go. It's in place. Then this pin's going to go into there to hold that piece in there. There you go. That looks quite cool, actually. It's not too bad. Ah, wheels next. Okay. So... what does this say here? This... so that keep that in place while you're pushing these wheels on. So it's tyres over these wheels. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. That's one. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. We've still got quite a few pieces left at the moment. I think we got the boom to do next. The boom. Okay. That'll do for now until we get this lined up. Not the hardest tyres to put on, which is good. Kind of an awkward wheel rim though. Yeah. Poof it out and then let it drop. There we go. Now what we're saying here is the axle may push out. So what we're going to put, we're going to put a Technic beam in there just behind that axle. Probably use a smaller one actually. Keep it there, and then when you push the wheel on, now we push, it's going to be the sunken side is going to be on the outside this time, whereas the last time it was the other way, and that just stops the axle being pushed out. So we just got to put that in there on the other side. Because if you didn't put a beam behind it or anything behind it, you would definitely push that axle back out. These, no problem. These will be alright. Alright, here we go. That's looking cool. It's looking cool. Got some hands God steering there. We got some engine work in there. The engine looks really cool. I really like it. I like that red cowling stuff. What we got here? We've got some pins with ball joints going here. Okay, it's not awkward, is it? But that's going to stop the. That's going to stop the steering. I don't know. If we can get them in. Yep. It doesn't stop the steering that much. So, I guess it's alright. Close, as long as it's closest to the axle, as opposed to if you put them there, you definitely will get no steering. But the ball joint there, where's the other ball joint? The ball joint there, but that's blocked off. So what's that doing? What's it doing? Okay, so we got a 5 beam going on here, and these 2 black pins here. And this looks like the boom. So axle connected with hole in the middle, 6 axle, lightsaber, Kylo Ren lightsaber. Yeah, there we go. Then we got another axle hole, axle connector with hole in the middle, and we've got dark grey pins with axles going into each end. Then we're crossing over Kylo Ren's lightsaber. Then we go secure that in place with a small bushing. Doink. Like so. Still got some movement. Then an axle connector. There it is. And then a 5 axle, so this is getting really long. And then a red bushing. And then another one. Okay, another axle connector with a hole in the middle with blue pins with axle. And then that's going to go over the top like that. Then that's going to be held in place by a small bushing. Like that. And then we got a moon gear going on top of that. Okay. So we got like a miniature spaceship, space station thing going on here with rotating arm. Rotating habitat ring. Okay, so this is going to be a small L shape, red axle at the end of the bed, black pin, the headboard, base of the headboard. That's going to be attached to an 13 hole Technic beam on the end like that. And then we've got large tank gear with not that. But that. The tan pin with axle. And then that's going to go into the hole just after the red axle, just before the red axle actually, like that. Should spin because it's on a frictionless pin. And then this is going to join. It's going to be one hole away from the gear. Drop the pin. And that's going to go in there like so. And that moon gear and the tan gear should meet up and you should have some sort of rotation there. Perfect. Okay, another small L shape, blue pin with axle at the end, and looks like it's going to overhang by 1. So it's going to be like that, so it's overhanging by 1 hole. Then we got the big turntable. Black pin. There's a black pin in there already. Next to each other like that, and on the other side same. Gonna go on like that, is it? Oh, I see. That's gonna go into there like that. Right. Okay. Cool. Ooh, look. Then we got the big dangerous saw blade coming up. Blue. No, not blue. A 5 axle with 2 small bushings. So small bushing. Small bushing. It's going to be about there, I think. Small grey gear or a grey gear on there, and then the saw blade fan on there like that. Nice. And that's going to attach to the L shape up top there. So that gear meets there. Twiddle this and it should turn quite nicely, and then this should pivot as well. Close it off with the 13 long Technic beam. Black pin with collar, so it's going to be a hole, then the collar, push it all the way through, because then you go put the one hole axle connector on the end using the pin. Then another one hole axle connector with a 3 axle, so it's going to go into the axle hole, and then that is going to go across like that, and then you're going to add it to there. So these pieces are going to be on the inside. So line up the dark bluish grey pin first, then the blue, get that lined up, and then it's just an axle that you're lining up there, so just get that blue pin, grey pin, close it in place, and you should have that. Test it all out. Yeah, it works. Yeah, buddy. Okay. Then we've got small L shape, blue pin with axle. I got it the wrong way, like that. And that's going to attach to the other side of this turntable here. 2 pins to line up, actually 4. There's 2 here, 1 here, 1 here. 4 pins to line up, so it can be a bit tricky. Like that. It's a bit tricky. So try and cover them all in all the places. Try and get those 2 black pins on first. Let's see if that works. So they're on. Can't get that blue pin in because of the angle of it now. There we go. And there you have it. So it can be done. 4 black pins. 4 black pins. They're going to go on either side of this as well. Right, so 4 black pins. 1 there. 1 there. And on the other side, 1 there, 1 there. Large L shape, 2 black pins in the bottom of it. 1. I'm running out of black pins here. I never thought I would say that. 9 hole beam on the end there, and grey pin, so you got 2 holes, 1, 2, mark that, and you're going to drop a grey pin on the 3rd hole, the outside. It's frictionless, so it should spin. Then you're going to add that to that looks about right there. 7 axle connector, dark bluish grey axle connector, 3 axle, I need it, there it is, and then the tan gear on the end of the 3 axle like that. Then that's going to go on the end of the axle connector here, like that, and again spin it, and you should have some motion there. Lovely. And then we're doing a similar sort of frame as we've been seeing just recently with this whole setup here. So we've got the 1 hole axle connector, soft pin with axle, so it's going into the axle hole, pin next to it, so you got the 2 pins and the axle. Then that's going to go into the 1 hole axle connector. The hole's going to be facing up, and then the same again with another 2 hole axle connector, a pin and soft axle with pin. And we've seen this quite a bit now. And that's just going to fit like so. And then we got a 4 axle with stopper. Have we? Is it this one? No, it's 4 axle with stopper. I think I've got another one left. I got this. I need a 4 axle with a stopper. How interesting. I don't have one. Oh! No, that's the same. It should be a dark bluish grey. If I've gone blind. There's a 4 axle. We need the stopper. I'll put a 5 axle on there. I'll probably need it. Gonna probably need it. We'll find out. Yeah, 4 axle with stopper. Where's that? Okay. Unless I put it somewhere that it shouldn't have. It should have been a 5. The only place I've used them is the steering, so no, that's not right. Okay, well, moon gear on top of that. Moon gear on top. And then 2 bushings on top of that. Maybe it's supposed to be this. And that's going to go... It's going to bridge from this L shape, so it's going to go across like that. These gears are going to touch. This is what's going to start the rotation. So we've got a bit of movement going on. We're going to close it off, yeah. Okay, so yellow L shape, 2 black pins. I got 1 black pin and another black pin. Should be the last black pin by the looks of things. 9 beam, 2 holes, so into the 3rd hole, and then we're going to attach that to four pins to line up. Not easy. There we go, got it. Should have opened up with something like that. Okay, so then we got a 1-hole axle connector with hole in the middle. There it is. And 2 soft pins with axle. So that's going to go, the hole is going to go with the axle, and then the axle is going to drop in there, and the pin's going to stick outside, which is quite handy, like that. So there's nothing here turning this now. And then we're going to fix that onto here. Ready? That seems too high, because there's nothing under here. Oh, the arms. Yeah. These arms are going to lift it. Right, okay. Yeah. Got it. Close that off with the other 5-hole Technic beam. I think we're coming to close to the end of the build here. Then we got then we got it going from here to here. Okay, so we got 2 more. Yes. So we got one going from this grey pin here to this black pin here, and that's going to act as the lifting arm. Or like the hydraulic. And there we go. So it's like that. Of course, yeah, you gotta have the rapier antennae. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Here we go. The rapier sword. And the stud pin. And it's gonna go in the middle this time because that's kind of fashionable. And it goes in there like that. And it's very brittle. You don't want to be twanging this around too much like I am. And that's it. Okay. So, got quite a few pieces left over. I'm going to have to look for another 4-axle with bushing. But this apparently is what's going to turn. So that kind of acts like a handle. So you could probably just put 3 on top of there and you got a nice big handle. Okay. Steering. And you got the engine. The engine going there. Get rid of the instructions. Put those over there. So you got the engine working. Right there. The steering. Now then, the interesting part. How does the arm work? Is it this? No, that's the drill. Okay, so there's the drill. So, oh yeah, that's right. This crank arm, isn't it? This crank arm's it's going to lift the, should lift the arm. It's a little bit tricky. Oh, look at that. That's actually really quick movement. Oh my word. That's actually a lot quicker than I thought it was going to be. Look at that. And then you just drill away. Nice. And you can turn your drill so you can cut sideways. It's not bad. It's not bad. There's a lot of clever bits and pieces in it. I love this. I do love the engine cowling. I like the back end as well. That's probably my favourite part is the back end. It's like a telehandler cutter, isn't it? Like that. And then you can turn. Like that. Not bad, not bad. Genius bit of steering. Twang twang. Yeah, it's okay. I think I like the mine loader for sure. This might work well on a set with mine loader as well because this is the mine cutter. It does look pretty cool. This bit bothers me. I think if we had that and then made this as a tele forklift, a telehandler, that would be pretty cool. That would be pretty cool. But I'm not feeling this, but maybe it's because I've not seen any. What do you think, folks? Give us a thumbs up. Give us a thumbs down. Don't be shy. If you didn't like it, let me know. Drop a comment. Tell me why you didn't like it. And yeah, obviously keep it as friendly as possible. Yeah, thank you so much, folks. I'm Sean from BRIT'N. Peace.